Well, I was in the House of Commons for 27 years, and I was a government minister for 15 years. And the House of Lords is very different. It's a different atmosphere. It performs a lot of the same functions, but there are others that it can't do. And I find it a very interesting place because you have a huge range of experience and expertise from right across the board from members in the House of Lords, and it makes it a very interesting place to work in and to contribute to. I think the main contribution comes through detailed scrutiny of legislation, which the House of Lords is able now to do almost better than the House of Commons for a variety of reasons, and also in the select committee work, where we make some very important reports that, because of the range of experience and expertise there is in the members of the select committee, which are very much listened to by government and in departments and indeed in the European Union as well. One of the things I'm focusing on particularly at the moment is the Select Committee on Economic Affairs, which I chair. We have people there with long experience of business, economics, the city, finance, just about anything you mention. And we've done a number of fairly groundbreaking reports, fairly important reports, which takes a lot of time but is very worthwhile. Sadly, it was a very long time ago. In 1959, I had just graduated from St Andrews University and was coming to King's College London. And I had a break in the summer, and I knew Ted Heath quite well then because I was chairman of all the University Conservative Associations. He was president. So he asked me, he was chief whip, very busy in London. He asked me if I could come down and help to run his constituency campaign, which I did. It was a great election. Well, I think there have to be quite a lot, actually, but the one most striking to me is Margaret Thatcher. Many people have forgotten how bad things were in 1979 when we took over as the new government. And I think, were it not for her determination, she knew what she wanted to achieve, her drive, we would not have achieved all the reforms and the huge improvements to the British economy and in many other ways that was done in the 1980s. So it has to be Margaret Thatcher. It complements the House of Commons. It's not a rival to the House of Commons. If the House of Lords were elected, then it would be, and I think there'd be real problems. But it complements the House of Commons. You don't have constituency work, which is a huge amount of work, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, but very time-consuming as a member of the House of Commons. You also have a lot of experience of everything across the board, from universities, university vice-chancellors, the health service, the armed forces, foreign affairs, business especially, and finance. Huge amount of experience brought to bear in everything the House of Lords does. And this actually means, I think, that the scrutiny of legislation that the House of Lords does is now more thorough than in the House of Commons. It's also less confrontational, and the result is the Lords gets a lot of amendments, detailed improvements to bills that don't often happen in the House of Commons in the same way. I think it's very different from the Commons, and I'm fundamentally a House of Commons man. I hugely enjoyed my years there, and I love working in the constituency and so on. But in the Lords, there's rather more time. There isn't all the constant pressure. It's not so confrontational. I mean, Prime Minister's Questions is the worst example of the confrontation, if you like, but it happens a lot in the Commons. And I think I can sum it up in the Lords in one way. I remember one of my fairly early experiences in the Lords. It was on a bill, and I was debating with the minister. We broke for dinner, and I found myself sitting next to her at dinner, because in the Lords, the dining room, you sit next to whoever, the next vacant place. And we sorted out the issue that we've been debating on the floor of the House. That sort of thing really happens in the House of Commons. So there's more a desire to get the legislation right, and government ministers listen, and they make a lot of changes where they're required, not huge issues, but the detailed changes that make legislation workable. That's one of the most satisfactory things about being in the House of Lords. The work is very important, and you get endless people who are involved either in education or social services or wherever, who say, well, we read that debate in the House of Lords, and my goodness me, it was powerful stuff and really worth reading. And that I sometimes wish that more people took an interest, because it is a place where there's huge expertise, and a lot of extremely good work done. We do get a lot of results. Huge improvements to legislation. Some of the best debates in Parliament take place in the Lords because of the expertise, and a very large number of influential people and organisations pay a great deal of attention to what goes on in the Lords. So it achieves its purpose, but it doesn't always hit the 6 o'clock news.